Salam sejahtera. For today's video, activity 8, informative speech practice 1, I am going to talk about role of woman in society. Woman has her own job or duty in this modern society in which men are still the stronger gender. The role of women in society has been greatly overseen in the last few decades, but now it is becoming to a more positive perspective. In the early days, women were seen only as wives who were intended to cook, clean, and take care of the kids. They were not allowed to vote, while men took care of having jobs and paying any bills that had to be paid. Until the second half of the 20th century, women in most societies were denied some of the legal and political rights according to men. Although women in much of the world have gained significant legal rights, many people believe that women still do not have equality with men. This is evident at home, at their workplace, and in society general. The traditional role of the man who has to work and make money, which would be used by all in the household. The traditional role of a woman has to stay at home, take care of the children, clean the house, and cook. Because society has always associated money with power, the person bringing home the money had the power. The man often made the final decision on all household matters because he had the money. Women were treated like they were property of men, with no voice about their own fate. Changes in the family began when a woman wanted more from life. It is still true that in the majority of cases, it would be more difficult for a woman to financially provide for herself and her family. But this is not to be regarded as her own fault. The problem is that there are still more job offers for men, and it is still easier for men to climb the social ladder. A man can have both a family and successful career, whereas women who want to fulfill themselves as professionals have to sacrifice their personal life in most cases, or if they choose to have a family as well, they sometimes regarded as a bad mother because they do not allocate 24 hours a day to raising their children. There are unfortunate cases when women who have dedicated their entire life to raising the children and being a good wife get divorced, or even worse, becomes widows. In such situation, many of them find it is impossible to find a place to work and have to live in more or less poverty. Without women and men wouldn't be a man at all, and would not have to comfort of having someone by his side through the rough and bad days or bad times. Fortunately, more women have made vast improvements in their lifestyle in the past few decades, from holding positions in government to simple things like getting a job and supporting themselves. Changing role of women in the past 25 years relating to joint families and nuclear families. A woman is a full circle. Within her is the power to create, to nurture, and transform. This was quoted by Diane Marie Child. Historically, women in India were revered and the birth of a girl was widely believed to mark the arrival of Lakshmi, the goddess of wealth and riches. Women are also considered to be an embodiment of goddess Durga. Women have shouldered equal responsibility with men, where their widespread discrimination against women is. However, it is reflected in recurrent incidents of rape, acid throwing, dowry killings, wife beating, honor killing, forced prostitution, and much more. Some of these issues were highlighted by Satyavamith Jayate, Truth Alone, which means Truth Alone Prevails. It was an acclaimed television show hosted by Bollywood icon Amir Khan. A global poll conducted by Thomson Reuters in 2012 rated India as the fourth most dangerous country globally for women and the worst country for women among the G20 countries. Gender discrimination is not only inequitable but also hampers the development of the nation. Evidently, no country can sustain its development if it under-realizes its women, who constitute almost half the population. Despite some basic changes in the status and the role of women in the society, no society treats its women as well as its men. Consequently, women continue to suffer from diverse deprivation from kitchens to keyboard, from the cradle to the grave across the nation. But as Kofi Annan stressed, no development strategy is more beneficial to society as a whole than treating men and women alike. Besides, their entrepreneurial role in cities, where Indian women have contributed significantly to agriculture activities, handicraft, village arts, and craft. Factors impeding the advancement of women, including lack of access to housing and basic services, inadequate support service and technologies for reducing druggery and occupational health hazard, and for enhancing their productivity. This necessitates devising of an broad-based strategy action plan for the realization of equal partnership of women and women in all spheres of life and economic activity. Hillary Clinton, a former First Lady of the United States, correctly observed, in country after country, women have demonstrated that when given the tools of opportunity, which mean education, healthcare, access to credit, political participation, and legal rights, they can lift themselves out of poverty. And as women realize their potential, they lift their families, communities, and nation as well. Which is true. There are some striking cases as breaking the glass ceiling. But as one swallow does not make a summer, the fact of some women occupying top position does not make the development process broad-based, equitable, and inclusive. Clearly, much more needs to be done. The gross underrepresentation of women and the attitudinal bias against women is strikingly reflected in several areas of employment, like the police, the judiciary, and the law, and much more. The correction of this unhappy situation requires focused intervention targeting education, training, childcare, health, nutrition, credit, employment, welfare service, support, and legal safeguards. In the struggle for independence, it was stressed that political freedom must ultimately lead to emancipation of women by eliminating shortcomings in terms of education, nutrition, and health. But this aspiration is yet to be realized. Investing in women capabilities and empowering them is the best way to advance economic growth and overall development. The Indian political system has also been characterized by concern with women's status and rights. This is reflected in various constitutional provisions, but robust gender law needs to be effectively enforced. Laws relating to marriage, divorce, maintenance, and inheritance have not been fully effective because of their inherent problems. Hence, the attempts to provide the dual equality to women must be carried to their logical conclusion. This requires tougher law, stricter enforcement, and exemplary punishment. The benefit of development must extend to women both qualitatively and quantitatively. Gender-specific policy with emphasis on activities and resources beneficial to women may help in providing greater opportunity because of the injustice against women. But what required is affirmative action in areas such as education, health, and welfare to overcome and entrench discrimination caused by gender bias, denial of opportunities, lack of employer trust in their capabilities, and apprehension about not getting a fair deal. The National Policy for Empowerment of Women stresses the policies program and system to ensure mainstreaming of women perspective in all development processes, both as agents and resourceful beneficial to women, may help in providing greater opportunity because of the injustice against women. It is time now for us to make a different and effect mindset change in apprehensively male-centric scheme of things and bring about true socio-economic empowerment of women across regions and classes. But the gender integration and promotion of a cohesive social framework requires active participation of all stakeholders in the development process, including the society at large, government, educational institution, premier technological institution, voluntary agency, policy makers, and women themselves. The journey has emancipation of women has crossed many milestones, but affirmative action is required for women to play their rightful role in the society. This is all for me today. See you in next video, Teech.